surround us, rising like a flood. They break into pieces, swallowed in dust. He rejoices over us. He rejoices over us. Like a mighty warrior, He's our God. Like a mighty warrior, He's our God. His voice is like a thunder, rolling through the land. He's the Lion of Judah, breaking up the fear of man. He rejoices over us. He rejoices over us. Up on the rock of revelation, we're dancing now, we're dancing now. No enemy could ever shake us. We're dancing now, we're dancing now. Up on the rock of revelation, we're dancing now, we're dancing now. No enemy could ever shake us. We're dancing now, we're dancing now. Up on the rock of revelation, we're dancing now, we're dancing now. No enemy could ever shake us. We're dancing now. Rejoices over us. Rejoices over us.
Salvation sounds a new beginning as distant hearts begin believing. Redemption's bid is unrelenting. Your love goes on. Your love goes on. Carry us when the world gives way. You cover us with your endless grace. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. every chain. You set us free, fighting for the furthest part. You gave your life for all to see. Tearing through the veil of darkness, breaking every chain. You set us free, fighting for the furthest part. You gave your life. Love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless.
Forward Point. My name's Justice.
And I'm Sonia.
And we're in the new space today, and we're going to show you guys what's going on.
So as you are here this morning, please grab a cup of coffee, some snacks. Our coffee and snack station at the new area is going to be over here to my right. We're so excited about that. This area that we're walking through is our gathering lounge.
This is going to be an extension of our gathering space. We're going to have a wall of TVs right here live streaming the gathering that's going on inside. And then we have our welcome center right on the other side of the room.
Right over here. Going to have a nice desk, people stationed. Very excited about that.
Some fun chairs to let y'all sit back and relax.
And again, talking about our welcome desk, if you haven't seen one of our welcome staff or our Next Step team members, please do so this morning so you can get a free gift. We can welcome you in. Also text the word welcome to 315-883-2213. As I'm talking, we're passing our bathrooms on the left. Nothing really exciting, but bathrooms, they'll be great. And
now we're entering the gathering space. It's cozy and cute, and we love it. It might not look like much now, but it's going to be beautiful with a nice stage right over there and some seating. We're going to have a great time in this room.
Guys, as we showed you, we can't wait to use this space for our next steps, groups, life groups, more opportunities to serve. So please, we are all about next steps and how it helps us become more like Jesus in this new space. And we have another place to show you, so we'll be right back with that. So we're entering the main hallway into the Kidman space. So excited to have a permanent space.
It's looking really good, you guys. We have this classroom right over here. That's the wall studs are going in. It's looking really good. We have our main section right over here where every kid will meet up, do their normal morning gathering.
None of this could be done without your generous gifting, without your committing to Forward Point family and our vision in this new space. So we want to thank you already if this is where you've chosen to give. There are many ways to do that. We have our Joy Box that's in the back of the theater because giving is such a joy. We can do it online through the Church Center app and also through our website. And the Church Center app is just a really good way to get connected and stay connected.
It's the best thing, you guys. Everything we do is on there, whether it's life groups or just seeing what we're doing throughout the week. Everything will be on there.
Thank you, guys. We hope that you enjoyed this tour. Welcome to our new space.
you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Calm down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me.
Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates, let heaven on in. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates, let heaven on in. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me.
Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want.
Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me.
Good morning, everyone. Let's continue to keep worshiping and singing away.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings. There's not a day ahead you have not seen. So in all things be my life and breath. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing less.
When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. You are my strength and comfort. You are my steady hand. You are my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. Your ways are always higher. Your plans are always good. There's not a place where I'll go you've not already stood.
When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you.
When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers, as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. 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 When the burden is much more than I can bear, when I'm drowning in chaos and despair, when sorrow overcomes and fills the air, when all is lost, you find me there. Hope crashes in, hope crashes in. When life's a mess and nothing else makes sense, hope crashes in, hope crashes in. When life keeps in, I'm left with one defense. When the burden is much more than I can bear, when I'm drowning in chaos and despair, when I start to question if you're even there, I know it's dark before the dawn, but hope crashes in, hope crashes in. When life's a mess and nothing else makes sense, hope crashes in, hope crashes in. When life keeps in, I'm left with one defense. I need you, I need you, oh, I need you. Every hour I need you, I need you, oh. you. I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. 'Cause hope crashes in. Hope crashes in. When life's a mess and nothing else makes sense. Hope crashes in. Hope crashes in. When life gives in, I'm left with one defense. 'Cause hope crashes in. Hope crashes in. When life's a mess and nothing else makes sense. Hope crashes in. Hope crashes in. When life caves in, I'm left with one defense. I need you. Oh, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. I need you. I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee.
Good morning, Ford Point. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, welcome, welcome. It's great to see you. It's great to be together and not have to wear our jackets, right? Just a little sweater will do. It was a little frozen tundra over the past couple weeks, but appreciate all of you guys being here. The more that are here, the less articles of clothing that we can wear, to an extent, right? But the more body heat everybody provides, and it's great to be together and have everyone around. I don't know how many people, what you were doing last Sunday night, but I heard there was a football game going on, a Super Bowl. Is there anybody here who was rooting for the Patriots? Any Patriots fans? One or two. Anybody Seahawks fans? Any Seahawks fans? A couple. I found this picture online. I feel like this was kind of the majority of most of the country is just wishing that anybody but the Patriots, right? It doesn't really matter, especially if you're a Bills fan. I know we got a lot of Bills fans. We got some Jet fans, all in the same. We don't want the Patriots to win. But truth be told, I didn't even really watch the game. We watched the movie as a family. I found this other picture of people rooting for the game. They had some Seahawk fans, you had some Patriot fans, and this was everyone else just waiting for baseball season. They just... Let's move on to bigger and better things. A big part of the Super Bowl is sure the game and the Super Bowl champions are crowned, but the other part of it is the commercials. And afterwards, since I didn't watch it live, I figured I would go on and see if I could find, what were the funniest Super Bowl commercials of 2026. And I'll be honest with you, I saw a couple different videos that had like a top 10, and I'm like, you know what, none of those are really funny. I wasn't really a big fan. Like, you spent millions and millions of dollars for your, one shot there, and you blew it. I was going to show you one that I did appreciate. I wasn't able to get it here this morning. I don't know if you saw the Jurassic Park one. It was pretty funny, like what Jurassic Park would have been like if they had good, strong Wi-Fi there. I thought that was pretty funny. That was clever. But for the rest of them, it was like, not such a big deal. And most of the time, when you come out of something like the Super Bowl, the next day, people are talking about the commercials, or talking about the team, and it kind of feels like this year, the Super Bowl wasn't really the Super Bowl, right? The game wasn't the big deal, the commercials weren't the big deal. We came out of it, and all you heard about, all over your social media feeds, was what? The halftime show, right? We had this big discussion about the halftime show. By a show of hands, how many? No, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to call you out here in front of your fellow forward pointers. But there was obviously the halftime show that they had as part of the game, which was done by Bad Bunny and a bunch of people dressed up as grass. And then there was the other halftime show that was the Turning Point USA alternative with the Kid Rock and some other things going on there. And afterwards, all you had was this constant, I'll use the word outrage. There was this outrage because either you watched the wrong one, or you didn't like the right one, and all sorts of reasons why people should have liked one or not liked the other, or watched one and not watched the other. I mean, I saw some pretty crazy posts about biblical reasons. I mean, people had way too much time in their hands because they're able to put together this sermon based on why they should have watched the particular halftime show that they watched. And I'm talking about not even people who are, wouldn't call themselves Christians. I'm talking about Christians attacking other Christians because of how they felt about the halftime show. Now, this morning is not a referendum on, me being able to tell you which one was the right one that you should have watched. But I wonder this morning if we kind of, had different sections, and this was the Bad Bunny section, and this was over here the Chris Rock section, and in the middle was like the people who I don't even care about the Super Bowl, didn't watch it, or, I watched both of them, those people were in the middle. I wonder what our morning would look like this morning. And here's some insider information. I bet if we were to do that, we'd have people in all three sections. That means that there are some people here this morning who watched the wrong Super Bowl halftime show. Can you stand it? Can you believe that they're here? Now, we don't know who they are, because we don't know which one was the right one. All we know that is if you didn't watch the one that we watched, then that gives us permission for some sense of outrage, right? One was marketed as this sense of cultural identity and talking about all sorts of different cultures. One was talking about being, defiantly pro-USA, and you had to be one or the other. If you watched the other one had this kind of content that wasn't. One of them mentioned the word Jesus, and that makes it, the most important thing in the world. And there's all this outrage. And what do we do in this world of outrage? Originally I wasn't really going to talk about this as part of this series, but over the past few weeks, culminating with the Super Bowl halftime show, has just been this kind of case after case of outrage. People finding all sorts of reasons why they can be outraged because of what somebody else is doing or not doing. Just so happens the most recent is the Super Bowl, but it's this idea that you got to pick a side and you got to stick to that side. you got to pick a side and you got to tell everybody else who's not on that side why they are wrong. Now, outrage, it's not new, but it definitely feels like it's something that is becoming progressively more and more part of the status quo. And unfortunately, guys, the church has not shown itself immune to this outrage. You go back just, not too long before the Super Bowl, and there's all sorts of other things that we can talk about. We can talk about how during election time, the elections were stolen, right? And some people feel like the elections were stolen. Some people feel like they weren't. And if you don't believe the way that I do, then you're wrong, and I have every reason to be mad at you. Or there's COVID. COVID was really like the first major kind of issue as a leader that I had to walk through, and I had to navigate people on opposite sides. Again, this is not Christians and non-Christians. This is people within the church where some said, man, if you close down and you force people to wear masks, you're wrong. And there was other people in church circles that said, and if you don't do that, then you're wrong. And there was all this outrage towards people on the other side. And it was like, you shut down, people are angry with you. You open up, the other half of the people are angry with you. Over the past few months, we've had this topic of ICE going out into different cities and the things that they're doing. And there's people within the church, half who say this is terrible, it's wrong, and half who say this is right. And they're arguing with each other. And there's outrage towards the other side. I'm not talking like nice disagreement and let's have a conversation. I'm talking about taking the sword, the Bible, and using it as a weapon towards people who they say they follow Jesus alongside. And there's outrage. And it's ugly watching it from the outside. Along with ICE came this protesting, and it became the same kind of story. How are you protesting? Are you protesting in a manner that would honor God? And if you did or you didn't, there's outrage. I mean, just pick your recent issue going on, and there's all sorts of reasons for us to have outrage. Recently, there was a post that the president made that had some what was considered racial picture at the end. There was all sorts of outrage. People should immediately resign. People should be fired. There was no apology. It's just why didn't he apologize? All sorts of outrage. And here's the bottom line when it comes to outrage. Outrage is responding to an anger in a sinful way because you feel justified. You feel based on the way that you think, the way that you believe, the way you interpret what the Bible says, you have every right because you got truth. So you have every right to talk and to act and to respond in the way that you are, in this outrageous manner. Now remember, Paul said, he said, it's okay to be angry. Angry is a normal emotion that's going to come. But he says, in your anger, do not sin. And what outrage is taking that anger, and because of the justification, walking in sin. Allowing our truth to separate us, to build walls between us and other people. We all understand, we all get angry. It's a part of everyday life. I mean, you're probably not human if you're not getting angry multiple times a day. But there's a difference between getting angry and bringing it before God, or getting angry and then a couple days later realizing, what in the world did I do? What regrettable actions, what am I embarrassed now because of what I said on the internet somewhere, on some kind of social media, or what I said to somebody in person because of this anger and outrage towards somebody else that I feel because I was justified. And man, as someone who's followed Jesus for pretty much most of his life, it's so sick to see people just use Jesus to justify. Can't tell you how many times people say when they're called out on their outrage, be like, well, Jesus, he went into the temple and he flipped tables. Right? That's why I wear my Jesus Turning Tables hoodie today. It always comes back to that, right? They feel like their outrage is justified, their actions are justified because they have a corner on the truth and because Jesus went into the temple and flipped some tables. And there's been this shift that as long as I've been alive towards this freedom to feel like we can just be outrageous towards other people who don't think or act or walk out their faith the way that we think that they should. So this morning, as we hit this topic of outrage head on, it brings me back to a story. It's a story that is more often used as a way to talk about the gifts that we have and sacrificing them and giving them to God. And you might be familiar with the woman who had the alabaster box and she broke it on Jesus' feet and anointed him for burial. And that is a beautiful thing. And even Jesus says what she's done is going to be remembered forever. But in the story, there's some other characters that acted in a way that I think more accurately reflects our culture and, unfortunately, Christianity today. The story that I'm referencing is usually found in leading up to Jesus' death, but there's another kind of almost exact replica of the story, but it's got some different characters in it, so it must have happened a second time, but it's earlier on in Jesus' ministry. And this first story is found in Luke, and it starts off this way. It says, one of the Pharisees asked him over for a meal. This is being Jesus, Luke chapter 7. And I love, the Pharisees represent the religious leaders at the time. This is kind of, anybody with a mega church today or, who leads maybe a Christian TV station or radio station. I mean, this is kind of like the high-ups of the religious people of the time. And they invite Jesus over. Now, you and I, kind of with a pure heart, we would love to invite Jesus over just to glean and learn from whatever it is he has to say and to tell us and to point us in the right direction. But what we begin to see through this is that this particular Pharisee is not inviting Jesus over to become more like Jesus, but he's inviting Jesus over to kind of use him as a political tool, right? Kind of like the token, here's the up-and-coming star of the teachers, the rabbis, and it looks cool to have him in your house, to invite him over. All of a sudden, you get the street cred that he's been carrying now kind of gets attached to you. And this particular Pharisee invites him over, what we're going to be seeing, not for genuine motives, but for some ulterior motives. He's a spiritual leader, but he's playing the politician. Because believe it or not, people in power in that day, nothing like what we have today, but people in that day in power were looking into more so for themselves than for really helping people. He wants to be seen close to Jesus. He wants not to become more like him, but just to be seen close to him. He wants Jesus to be on his side more than he wants to be on Jesus' side, which is unfortunately a reflection of our faith in America today. So he's over. One of the Pharisees asked him over for a meal. He went to the Pharisee's house and sat down at the dinner table. Right, and I believe Jesus knows his motives, but Jesus still, despite knowing his motives, accepts and says, I'm going to be part of building bridges. It'd be very easy for me to be at the invitation to just kind of knock him down and be like, I know all the things that you've done. I know the way that you practice your faith. I know that you care more about appearances than what's going on inside. He doesn't do that. He doesn't use the truth as a weapon to cut this Pharisee down, but he accepts the invitation. And he goes. But from the Pharisee's perspective, he thinks that just being in close proximity to Jesus is going to get him what he needs, right? Close proximity to Jesus leads to alignment, but it does not guarantee it. It's essential in your faith walk that if you're going to follow Jesus, like you got to get close to him. You got to do different things that are going to help you get close to him, but just being close to him does not guarantee alignment with Jesus. Just being in a church building does not make you a Christian. Just having a Bible on your nightstand does not make you a Christian. Just positioning yourself in close proximity to these faith circles does not put you in alignment with Jesus. And that's what this Pharisee is about to find out. Because him and Jesus have two very different approaches and feelings towards people who are far from God. Because just then, a woman of the village, the town harlot, she has a reputation of being someone who gets around, right? Having learned that Jesus was a guest in the home of the Pharisee, she came with a bottle of very expensive perfume and stood at his feet, weeping, raining tears on his feet. Letting down her hair, she dried his feet, kissed them, and anointed them with the perfume. Now, I got to believe if the Pharisee is at home by himself and this is any other Sunday, she's not coming to his house to do this to this religious leader. But there's something about the way that Jesus has lived. There's something about the way that Jesus has taught. There's something about the way that Jesus has presented himself. There's something about the way that Jesus has interacted with people that despite being a rabbi, despite being a spiritual leader, this woman, this loose woman, this woman who, would probably get all sorts of strange stares, feels she can overcome the looks, the comments, to just take this probably only valuable thing she has left in the world and use it as a form of anointing Jesus. Now, we read the story, right? It's the day after Valentine's Day. We're all filled with love, and we've been shot with Cupid's arrows, and it's just like, oh, this is so cute and so pretty. But that's not how they saw it. When the Pharisee who invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man was the prophet I thought he was, he would have known what kind of woman this is who was falling all over him. Right? The Pharisee wasn't looking for alignment, he was looking for proximity. He wanted a photo op. If I can just take everything that Jesus has and has worked hard and built by being close to him, then that's going to project me further in my ambitions. The Pharisee created sides, and she wasn't on his side. And because Jesus wasn't calling her out, now Jesus became public enemy. Jesus destroyed walls and he built bridges. We say that all the time, that we're here to build bridges into our community. But there's all sorts of outrage, Forward Point. Justified outrage that is tearing those bridges down. That's building up walls. We're saying our truth, what we believe, is more important than the people who God has surrounded us with to be a light to. And as Jesus begins to know and hear the thoughts and the reaction of this Pharisee, he tells this parable of two debtors. He says there's two people and they owe some money to this debtor. The one person owes a small amount and the other person owes a really large amount. And the person who owns these debts tells both of them, your debts have been forgiven. You no longer owe the debt. And he says, which one do you think is more appreciative? Which one do you think is more grateful? And the Pharisee, thinking about it, says, well, obviously the one who had the bigger debt. They're obviously going to be more grateful than the person who had the little debt. The little debt, no big deal. I probably could have worked that off with some extra Uber hours this week. And he says, you're right. Right? Those who have a bigger debt, those who sin more, are more grateful when they are redeemed, when they are forgiven. And this woman, she's got a pretty big debt. The reality is, Mr. Pharisee, she's got all sorts of debts that you don't even realize. But because of her alignment with putting God first in her life, she's turning from that. She's not perfect. She hasn't figured it all out yet. She doesn't know what that means. But she's expressing the reaction to having been forgiven of such a great debt. And he says, when I got here, you didn't wash my feet. You didn't give me anything that a normal good host would give to one of their guests. But this woman has not stopped since the moment she got here. You wanted a photo op. And she wants to change her life. There's a difference. And you may feel justified in creating your sides. But I'm not here for sides. And almost to a T, the same thing begins to happen just before Jesus' burial. Only this time it's in a more private setting with a group of people. One says some strangers, another says the disciples. Our version is the disciples that we're looking at. And it says in Matthew, it says, when the disciples saw what was happening, they were furious. Okay, remember, it's the same picture. Some woman, Mary, comes in with her alabaster box. This is the story you're probably familiar with. She breaks it, anoints Jesus' feet. The disciples. These are the people who've been hanging out with Jesus for the last 3 years. They've seen all the different ways that he's taught and responded and acted. They were not immune from outrage. They were furious. That's criminal. Man, can you imagine saying that about something going on with Jesus? That's bold, right? This could have been sold for a lot and the money handed out to the poor. Now, could that expensive perfume, that alabaster box, been sold and used to feed the poor? Absolutely. Right? The disciples had truth. But having truth landed them in this spot where they're on the opposite side with Jesus. Being with the right answer is more important than knowing the right answer. The disciples knew the right answer. They knew that this could have been sold and put to good use to feed all sorts of hungry people. On the tests, that is 100% going to get you passed. But knowing the truth is not the same as being with the truth. And this woman, despite her past, despite her reputation, all she cared about was being with the truth. The disciples, after 3 years with Jesus, they were ready to create sides. This woman is not on the right side. For one, her reputation. For two, she's not being a good steward of the things that God has given her. This is criminal. And I wonder how many of us, in a state of being biblically justified, have burned some bridges to build walls with our outrage. Because for some reason we feel like God has put us here as the beacon of truth for the world rather than to be his hands and feet. Because outrage is just handling your anger in a sinful way because you feel justified. If you want sides, then you keep being right in whatever issue it is. If it's the halftime show, if it's whoever's in the White House, if it's whatever political party, if it's COVID. If you want sides, if you're okay with sides, then you keep being content with being right. And you see everything else as criminal. But just know that that's not where we see Jesus. That there may be a sliver of a chance that you are part of Jesus as a photo op than you are about alignment in your life. That you think you may be just about, as long as I'm in close proximity to Jesus, then I'm okay. Then we're good. And when Jesus realized what was going on, he intervened and he said, "Why are you giving this woman a hard time?" What gives, guys? She has just done something wonderfully significant for me. He says, "You will always Have the poor with you every day for the rest of your lives. He's not saying that, the poor don't matter, don't work to relieve the plight of the poor. It's not what he's saying. But he's saying that truth, knowing the right answer, is not the same as being with the right answer. Because forward point, you can know the truth but still be far from Jesus. Still be not aligned with Jesus. You may be able to pass the Bible tests. You may be able to go your entire life looking like a good Christian but never be aligned with Jesus. He says, but when she poured this perfume on my body, what she really did was anoint me for burial. You can be sure that wherever in the whole world the message is preached, what she has done is going to be remembered and admired. Man, I want to reenact the things that Jesus admires. And when I look at his life, I don't see him calling out other people for the things that they do wrong. I definitely see him challenge them to, hey, don't sin anymore. But you don't see him going around with a pulpit, a little stand for him to get on in the midst and just start, hey, you did this and you did this and I know where you were. He could have. The one person who knew all the information, who had the ability to use people's shame and sins to call them out, he didn't do that. In fact, what he decided to do was to elevate that being with Jesus is more important than just knowing Jesus. Than being with the truth is way more important than just knowing the truth. So I wonder this morning, when you think about my Bad Bunny section, and you think about my Kid Rock section and the didn't even watch it, what section would Jesus be sitting in this morning if he came in? And if the first thing that comes to mind is a particular section that you think Jesus would be in, then this morning there's a good chance that you might have some outrage. That you might be processing, your worldview might be allowing you to look at the different things that are going on politically and socially through a lens of, this is my side and I'm right. If you feel like you can pinpoint Jesus. Years ago, there was a friend of mine who I grew up with, and he was leading music and became a pastor. But before a lot of that, I remember him making this post. Now, this was during the time of Colin Kaepernick, if you remember. He was a quarterback who, during a lot of the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, began to initiate this process of kneeling down before and during the national anthem. And there's a lot of things about Colin Kaepernick that he had done that kind of degraded other people, specifically law enforcement. And I'm a big believer in honoring first responders and people who lay their life on the line. And at times I felt myself feeling pretty outraged towards this individual. And I remember scrolling through social media, and this one particular person who I would undeniably say claims to be a follower of Jesus said, you know what, if Jesus were here, I believe Jesus would be kneeling down there next to Colin Kaepernick. Now, even at saying that, I'm sure there's some of you this morning who, the hair on the back of your necks begins to raise because you have all sorts of feelings about all sorts of organizations, about all sorts of halftime shows and national anthems. Because I did in that moment. I was ready to bust out some of my outrage. But I paused for a second. I thought to myself, what would Jesus do? This is a new idea. What would Jesus do? I never thought about this before. And then I began to think through, and as fast as pace as I could, the life of Jesus through my mind and the way he would act. And I started to realize that, I bet Jesus wouldn't even be at the game. I bet the last thing that Jesus cared about is a bunch of people putting on pads and knocking themselves into each other. I bet he would be outside feeding poor, healing sick. He doesn't care about kneeling at a national anthem. He doesn't care about the national anthem. He doesn't care about football. What he cares about is people's relationship with Jesus. And it clicked for me. It's not about sides. It's about where is Jesus. And Forward Point, for our culture in America, 2025, we get so caught up in all these things. Man, just imagine how much baseball you watch, how much football you watch, how much TV you watch, and how many games you play, all these things. And I wonder, where is Jesus in the midst of that? Where would he be? What would he be doing? Because what we do in our outrage, when things don't go our way, is we pick up our ball and we walk away. We isolate. We just remove ourselves from the situation. This last week, the Doyles had to say goodbye to somebody who had been living with us for about 15 months. And as we went through it, we had all sorts of outrage at the judge for making this decision. I'll be honest, there's probably many, many nights where a lot of us in our house were saying things that were not nice about this particular judge in the legislative branch of our government. But here was some of the response and really where we were headed towards. We were ready to say, we can't do this. We can't do this foster care thing anymore. This is too hard. This is too painful. And I began to think, man, where would Jesus be? Jesus walked into the situations that he knew were going to be the most painful, not because he likes pain, but because he was demonstrating for you and for me what it looks like to build bridges. So last Sunday night, I'm picking up the girls from their Super Bowl party where they're not watching the game either. And as we're getting back, there's a phone call that comes over, and I hit answer on my thing, and it comes up over the car so everybody can hear it. And it's somebody from Child Protective Services, and they have a baby who they need emergency housing for. But you don't understand, God, the Doyle family, we're outraged. We hate this foster care thing. Nobody's making right decisions. It doesn't make sense. But all I heard was, where was Jesus? And this baby needs a home. And without even asking my wife, not good advice, I said, we'll take it. Or I can claim Forward Point to be pro-life. But unless I'm willing to lay down my life for the young mother who is hurting, for the mother who needs a hand up to be able to afford a life if she's going to keep this baby, if I'm not willing to do that, then you're not pro-life, you're just anti-abortion. And while I appreciate your anti-abortionists, that's just a side. To be pro-life is to say, in the midst of your pain, in the midst of your suffering, you're going to offer yourself as a living sacrifice and say, there's a need and I'm going to meet it. Ishmael's not even out of our house yet, but we can take this baby, little Mo, we called him, the biggest 6-month-old baby you're able to see. And we took him in, it was just for a couple days. And our family still needs some time to heal from the loss that we have gone through this last week. But we refuse to allow our outrage to keep us from being the hands and feet of Jesus. And one of the things that got me through this, I mentioned last week, Cherry and Glenn, that they can't be a part of our gathering because they're up there, but I know they watch every week. And Cherry reached out and she texted me. I don't know how you are with your devices and notifications, but I can't stand little red things on my iPhone telling me I have a notification, right? This is my phone, this is what it looks like, and all these notifications, they drive me crazy, but there's something I can't do about them because they're still there, or else I would have. But Cherry texted me earlier in the week, and I didn't hit on it right away, but when I went into my messages later on, this is what it said. It said, how can we be there for your family this week? And I almost tapped on it to reply on it, but I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what we needed. So I just put it off. But what I find myself is, as I have this notification on my watch where my messages has got one little notification in there. I look at my phone screen every day this week, and I got this one little notification and messages. I got this one message I got to reply to. I remember, that's Cherry. And she's praying for us. There's somebody out there who I believe with all their heart is waiting to be there for whatever we need. And my CarPlay in my car and messages, I got this one little red circle there, and I know every time I see it, I look at it, my initial thought is, who do I need to reply to? And I remember, that's Cherry. And she's praying for us. She's ready at the drop of it. And I refuse now to go in there. I feel bad because I haven't replied to her. But to me, this notification that is in every part of my life, that I look at my phone, my watch, my car, I know that there's somebody there not pushing me towards a side and saying, you were right, the judge was stupid, the judge was wrong, but just how can we be there? And I wonder, maybe that's where Jesus is. How do we get there as his followers? To maybe be the red dot in someone else's life? For everything that you feel so passionate about, maybe it's patriotism, maybe it's pro-life, that your activism would be less than what you post online, would be less than the biblical principles that you can use to reinforce your truth. Maybe it's just a calling to be a red dot. Maybe it's a calling to put yourself in a position when there's an emergency at a hospital and a little baby needs a home for a couple days. You can be that person. Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be cheap? No, it's going to come at your expense. But that's the model that Jesus demonstrated for us. In being a living sacrifice. That this is your spiritual act of worship. We're going to sing and we're going to respond to some songs, but if you think that is your worship, your head is in the sand. You haven't even touched what it means. Because in the midst of your outrage, worship is saying, God, can you do something with this? That doesn't push me further to a side, but helps me use it to build a bridge. And for far too many of us, Forward Point, we've maybe gotten to that point and we heard and we saw the expense sheet of what it's going to cost us, what it's the pain that's going to inflict on us, the way that it's going to reorient our life, and we didn't sign up for that. We're happy with just being in close proximity. We're happy with the photo op. But this morning, Jesus is wanting to take us into a much deeper alignment with him. And while I believe it's going to be the hardest thing you ever do, I believe also that it's going to be the most amazing thing that you'll ever do. God, we're so grateful that you were outraged at the way that sin was separating us from your Father. God, that it wasn't about performance, it wasn't about how we look, it wasn't about anything other than there's this thing called sin, and it separates us from relationship with you. And you said, you know what? Instead of writing a social media post about it, instead of coming up with some kind of truths about all the reasons why sin is separating, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer myself as the way to eliminate the separation from you. And man, you spent 3 years with some boneheaded guys. You spent 3 nights with some pretty torturous things happening to you. You spent 3 days in the grave dead, just so that you could rise and conquer sin and allow us to be in relationship with you. So God, this morning, how can we be the red dot in someone's life? The thing that when everything else is falling apart, that they look to, that they're reminded of, that it's not about size, it's not about being right, but it's about being one. God, we want to be that kind of church, that kind of people in our community here in Eastwood and Syracuse. We want to be that kind of person in our workplaces. We want to be that kind of person in our families and our neighborhoods. So God, would you help us this morning as we respond to you to lay our outrage at the altar, to lay our need to be right at the altar, for the need to proclaim truth at the altar. Would you just help us to be living sacrifices that just burn for you? That we can be found with the little baby Mo's, that we can be found with the single moms in our community. Help us to put down our protest signs. Help us to put down our rights to be more like you. Thank you for what you've done in my life. Thank you for what you're doing in the life of the people gathered here this morning. Help us to go from here to being living sacrifices.
Before I reach out my arms, you open up yours. Before I pour out my heart, you know every thought. My arms, you open up yours. Before I pour out my heart, you know every thought. I will be anxious for nothing, hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender, my comfort, my peace. Waits in the night. Your words tear through the dark, flood it with light, fill it with fire. I will be anxious for nothing, hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender, my comfort, my peace. You won't forsake me, you won't betray me, you never fail me, and I won't be afraid. You won't forsake me, you won't betray me, you never fail me, and I won't be afraid. You will protect me, you will defend me, you're standing with me, and I won't be afraid. You will protect me, you will defend me, you're standing with me, I won't be afraid. I will be anxious for nothing, hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender, my comfort, my peace. I will be anxious for nothing, hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender, my comfort, my peace.
There's a grace when the heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be in this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another ray in the fire standing next to me. There was another ray in the water holding back the sea. Should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears the burden where another died for me. There is another ray in the fire. There is another ray in the fire. Ooh, all my dead left for dead beneath the waters. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fail in the space between what remains of me in this reckoning, either way, I won't bow to the things of this world. And I know I will never be alone. There is another ray in the fire standing next to me. There is another ray in the water holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding what power sets me free, there is a grave that holds nobody, and now the power lives in me. There is another in the fire. Ooh, there is another in the fire. Oh, there is another in the fire. Oh, there is another in the fire. Oh, I can see the light in the darkness. As the darkness bows to him, I can hear the roar in the heavens. As the space between where sin, I can feel the ground shake beneath us. As the prison walls cave in, nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. No other name. There's no other name but the name of Jesus. He was and still is and will be through it all. So come with me, the space between all the things unseen in this reckoning. I know I will never be alone. Let me hear you, church. I know I will never be alone. There's another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the water holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me? I'll cut the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. There'll be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the water holding back the sea. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me? I cut the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I cut the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I cut the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Guys, as always, there's prayer in the back. You can walk out, or if I can just share for a second here. They play it off like it's a pretty easy week maybe, but what the Doyle family has gone through, I think we just, and there's other people even in this fellowship, this church, that have also gone through similar situations. But I don't want to diminish the magnitude of their example. It's easy just to brush it off. Again, not saying that my wife losing her little buddy and parrot friend is not traumatic, but this is difficult. I'm not trying to, he didn't ask me to do this. But I'm hoping and praying as a church, guys, that we would recognize and see Christ in others. See, to stand in the fire, that goes along with the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And all of a sudden, they told the king, King, we're not going to bow down to you. We're not going to bow down to your worldly ways, the way you want to do things. We are not going to pick sides. We're going to stand up for what we believe. And what did they say? They said, if our God wants us to perish, then we will perish. Or he will come and he will save us. Sometimes it's easy for us to think that the saving is in Jesus himself, in the flesh somehow. And again, maybe so. Maybe you have a vision. Maybe you have a revelation of his hands and his feet coming to you and sort of being like Thomas who was doubting. Maybe that happens. Maybe that is the way it happens. But how about if another in the fire, if we can just keep the lights down. You can keep the light on me, except for when people see me cry maybe, but keep the lights down. How about if another in the fire is not Jesus in the flesh, but Jesus using you? Maybe you are the Ananias. You are the one to come and meet Saul of Tarsus turning into Paul. Maybe you are the woman that got healing and through anointing Jesus is now set on fire, or the person at the well. Or maybe you are the centurion that their servant was healed. But you have seen the goodness of God in your life, and all of a sudden now you see somebody else who's desperately trying to live an example for Jesus, or desperately trying to get ahead. And just something really
awful happens. And as Jimmy said, we can blame it on this person or that person, or we can blame it on anything other than maybe just stand in the fire for someone else. Cry with them. Ask them, what can we do for you this week? They're good people. You know how good you are as people when you see how good their kids are, and their kids are so amazing. I commend them. I commend their faith. They are leading examples for this entire church, and they are leading examples to their children. And we don't know how the impact on this little boy's life will be felt, but somehow when that verse was being read by Jimmy about what Jesus said, what this woman did for me will be remembered every time the gospel is preached. That little boy will always have the knowledge and the memory of such unconditional, selfless love. I mean, what little boy wouldn't want to be surrounded by 4 young girls? I mean, I'll tell you, that's not a bad life, but I want to acknowledge it, and I want to encourage us all, whatever that looks like for you. There'll be another in the fire, standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters, holding back the sea. And should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll